can hear me? Hello, hello. Once I get the go ahead, I will get started. Uh-oh, I'm not hearing myself very well. Oh, you can hear me. Okay, good. Oh, okay, yeah. Maybe my volume is down. Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. Okay, so, usually on these days, on Wednesdays, I'll do a folio kit that either we're releasing or that is seasonal. Hi, Amy. Okay. Let's see if I can maybe. How about now? So yeah, usually I am doing things like a folio or whatever on these days, and I can't seem to get my mic to go down to my mouth. But instead of that, I was playing around with, some things that I want to teach later on, and in the Mega Make Mondays, and I just really kind of got into doing some beading. So I thought I would just take a break from that and just kind of play around with beads. Some days it's just like that, right? Where you just kind of want to break away from the plan a little bit and do something a little different. So right now what I'm doing is I'm working on a new way to attach beads, and I'm just playing around. So anyway, for those of you that don't know me that are here, my name's Kristi. I'm with Junk Journal Boss, and ours is a family-run, family-owned business that I run in partnership with Ezra, who is in the chat. And so everybody say hey to Ezra. And yeah, so before we actually get started, well, actually, let's show you this. I want to show you a few things that I worked on this morning, and then I'll actually show you how to do some of them. So this is one that I made this morning, and I really love these long beads. They're so cool, and they look so good on a journal. Okay, and so I'll show you how to make one of these, and I'll show you how to use actual fabric and stuff in these, and it makes it look, it's that, hi Kay, it's that boho look, that has like the frayed edges and things like that. If that's not your thing, that's fine. You don't have to wrap it. I'll show you what else you can use, but I'm going to show you how to do it with straws. And I just saw this today, and credit where credit is due. I'm sorry, hold on. The page that I was looking at, or the channel I was looking at, is called Junk Journal Ideas. And so, I went ahead and just like was following this one, and I was like super hooked. So before we get started with that, I want to give a shout out to my patrons. And so I want to thank my dragonflies: Darla White, Michelle Caldwell, Holly Spink, Don Graham, Mary Reynolds, April Harrell, Jane Dunlap, and Judy Brewster. And thank you so much for all of your support. I also want to thank my butterflies and my wildflowers, and just put a plug in for the dragonflies, because that tier is our best tier, and it has, you know, the Mega Make Mondays, and it has the, you know, you get 4 Mega Make Mondays when you join that. You also get a project exclusive that I'm not selling, you know, anywhere else but on Patreon, if I sell it at all. But mostly it's just free for the any tier, but depending on which tier you join, you'll either get a video or something like that to go with it. And so anyway, go check it out. Ezra can give the link there. And so now I want to go ahead and get started. Trying to get my stuff together much quicker. Okay, so do I have anything else to talk about, Ezra, first before I move on? Kind of been focused on, you know, spending less time talking and more time actually showing the project and everything. So, but I'm a talker, so all right. Anyhow, so what I've done here is I've created this bead, and it's relatively stiff, and the reason why is because, okay, thank you, Ezra. The reason why is because I start out with this. You know, I have a bunch of these, and basically what I'm doing with them is wrapping them with fabric. You don't have to if you don't want to. You can just simply paint them like I did with, I painted this with like a just a cheap nail polish, a Sally, hard as nails. I don't know if that's the cheapest nail polish, but you can do it with any nail polish that you want. And so you start out with something like this. I've got 20 gauge wire, straws, and a glue gun. So what I did forget to do is to bring over some straws. So let me go grab that. And so basically these are some straws that I probably got at Dollar Tree at after Christmas sales or whatever, you know. And so I'll use a couple of these. Yeah, just one is fine. You can cut them at various lengths if you want, you know, like longer ones. You can cut them at about, I don't know, 2.5, 3 inches. If you want the shorter ones, about an inch, inch and a half. You know, any size will do. This one here that I was working on had maybe like an inch and a half, you know, and then the rest was just beads and findings and stuff, or spacers and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead. I think I kind of like it that size, but I'll do a couple in other sizes, and you guys are not going to believe how easy this is. Okay, I'm not using a specific kit, but you know what, I can. That would probably be a good idea to use some of our paper, just so you can see what that looks like. And so, sorry about the break. All right, let me just go ahead and get started putting these together. I'll grab some paper from a kit a little bit later. So I'll show you how to wrap with paper and also how to wrap with fabric. And so what I start out with is probably a length of about 7-8 inches, just simply because it gives me the kind of space I need to do whatever I want. So I'm going to cut 4 of these. Yeah, and it looks like they're about 7 inches. Oh, I see. I gotcha. Yeah, the kit that that I had was called was called Daisy Quartz, and that one is just so pretty. And I've just been kind of picking it up and doing stuff with it because I've had the extra paper. But you know, you can use any paper that we've got. And as a matter of fact, here's a couple of the pages I have for that, so I'll go ahead and use these. These are pages that I just now added, not now, but last week added to the kit. So these weren't available before, but now they are as part of the kit. So if you have this kit, the Daisy and Quartz one, you've already bought it, and you did that before, like last week, or even maybe the week before, let me know so we can get this to you, because Etsy will not readily allow you to download any new files for stuff you've already bought. So, you know, you'll just have to let us know, and we can get that to you. So we'll go ahead and use that, and that'll be nice. But let's go ahead and start this part. So please excuse my hairy my hairy glue tray here. And let's see. First thing I want to do here is try to straighten this out as well as I can. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it is good if it's relatively straight. And then I'm just gonna feel like I'm looking a little blurry. One of these days I'm gonna have to invest in a camera that will just zoom on its own. Right now I think this one's pretty old, so all right, 1 second. Let's give this some new glue. Goodness. When you're using hot glue, it just gets everywhere. So what I'm doing is just putting the tip in, and I don't want to burn my fingers, so I'm holding it in the middle here, not on the end, until it looks like it's full on that side. Sometimes if it's hot, if the glue's really hot, you can feel at about what point it filled to, so that was helpful. But I just go into the other side, and when it starts looking like there's enough in there, then I want to adjust this, and I kind of want these to be as in the middle as I can get it. And so sometimes it's just easier just to not to move the wire, but to actually move the straw. So that's looking pretty good, and we'll do the rest of these. And this is all really tedious work, so if you're not into tedious work, you probably won't like this. I like tedious work because it helps me, or it lets me think about something else or watch a show or whatever. And so oh, there we go. Scoot this around. Got us a bubble here to manage. So I was doing these this morning, and I was watching a movie, and you guys tell me if you remember this at all, because I think I remember that there was a movie, so this must have been a remake, but I watched this movie called The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. And basically it's a babysitter movie, like a sinister babysitter movie kind of thing, you know. And sometimes, I mean, it reminds me sort of a Lifetime movie, which, listen, I'm not opposed to watching those. But I mean, do you guys remember? Because it seems like that was a movie that I saw when I was a teenager. So I just can't really remember, and I didn't get a chance to look it up. And so it has, this one had the girl, well, she's a woman now, like not an older woman, but like, you know, gosh, I really hesitate to say middle-aged, but she's probably like, 40 or so in the movie. And it was the girl from Scott Pilgrim, the girl that had the bright short haircut. And I can't remember her name, but anyways. Oh, you did? Was it? It's an old movie, Amy? Okay, so, because that's what I was thinking. I'm like, this really sounds familiar, but it was a different story. So, I think it was a different story. So, anyways, it could have been the same. I have no idea. All right, so I've got those filled, and I want to figure out which one I did first. No, not that one, I don't think. I think it might have been one of these. And these get pretty firm pretty fast. And so what I want to do here is just pull any hot glue off of this end, and kind of make the hot glue sort of flush right here so that I can fit the beads that I want on there. And so I'm just going to slowly just kind of adjust things, see if I can get it the way I want it. Oh yeah, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, you're correct. And the one with Mary Elizabeth Winstead the one that's 1992? Because I'm thinking no. But yeah, okay, that makes sense. I'm going to have to go back and watch that one too. So, but it was Lifetime like. It was about that caliber of good or whatever, It's just something to have on the TV, keep your attention. But I did finish yesterday. I did finish the Monster Ed Gein story. That one that I mentioned on Monday that I was watching. And that one I really liked. It wasn't the story I expected to see. Because I've not followed that story, but I've listened to that story lots and lots of times. It was really good. I liked it a lot. I'm pretty sure, because the guy that created it, takes liberties and stuff like that. And so I'm sure it wasn't like the story, but it was a story. And it was based on Ed Gein. So I liked it. It was pretty good. I probably wouldn't watch it again because I don't need to watch things more than once like that. I think it's just there's too much programming now that who has time, to watch stuff over and over. Okay, so I think I'm not sure if I should use this one. Okay, I'm gonna put it to a poll. Polka dot blue, polka dot yellow, or stripes? You guys tell me. I'll start with using some fabric though, and I'm gonna do that on this longer one. If you're doing fabric, you probably don't need to paint this, but if you are just going to add beads to the sides or whatever, you're going to want to paint it. I would even go as far as possibly drawing on it with a white acrylic pen or something like that. Okay, thanks, Amy. That's kind of what I thought. Amy said Mary Elizabeth Winstead is in the remake of the movie Hand That Rocks the Cradle. I don't know who was in the original. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start covering this. And we're going to see what the coverage is like on this. I'm pretty sure it'll be fine, but the fabric I'm using is actually a blouse fabric. You know, it's like satiny. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's, you know, dull on one side, shiny on the other. Which one gets released today? The remake? Because I just watched it. So I guess this might have been the first day. Anyway, it's probably because whatever the streaming service was recommending it to me. And I'm like, okay. So, first thing I'm going to do, and just a mental note, I chose a fabric that had a lot. Oops, this is the wrong way though. I chose a fabric that has a whole bunch of like, yeah, okay, cool. That's the one I watched. It has a whole bunch of fraying to it, and I think it lends itself nicely to like a boho sort of bead style bead. So I'm going to go ahead and go with it. It is not covering as nicely these you know, red chevrons, but it's doing okay. It's not the worst. I feel like I'm really out of focus here. So, you know, but I really like the frayed look. Some people, you know, maybe that's too shabby for them or whatever, but I actually really like it. All the loose ends and stuff. One thing I'm super excited though about is that Welcome to Derry is going to be coming out on the 26th, which I don't know what day that is, but the 26th. And I'm super excited about that because it and Pennywise are probably my most favorite movie and or book and character. Not sure why, but I do really like those ones a lot. So, and I really like that Stephen King's books have a lot of like history, you know, not necessarily real history, but you know, canon history in the universe that he writes in. So, thanks, Amy. The 26th is on Sunday, so if you got HBO Max, nobody's giving me kickbacks for this. I'm just saying. Welcome to Derry is going to start, and if you want to geek out, I'm likely going to be geeking out about it next week. So, anyhow, this is what it ends up looking like. Let me bring it a little closer. And it looks really cool, right? I like it a lot like that. All right, let me go back down here. Oops. All right, so that's what I got there. Nobody said stripes or anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and just do it then. Because y'all don't want to make a decision, right? Ezra and I were just talking about that, how people don't like to make decisions, you know, and I get that. I am one of those people. So that is okay. All right, so okay. Oh, traders, yeah. That's fun. Have you seen the one with, do you watch much reality TV, Amy? Because I love how like reality TV people will go from show to show, you know? So one of my favorite reality TV personalities is Suri from Survivor. And so I was like pleasantly surprised to see that she was on one of the seasons of Traders. It may have been the first one, maybe the second, I don't know. Anyways, hi Tara. I am making let me show you the actual bead. I'm actually making beads, but what I am doing right now is I am using straws to create these long beads. Let me just pull this out of here. I don't really love this thread. I keep trying to use it and it's just not that great. It's just elastic string, you know, but I made this morning and I was really like into it. So I'm like, yeah, I want to show this to you guys. But anyway, the straw part is here. And then the rest are just, you know, beads and spacers and all that stuff. So what I'm working on right now is covering one of these that I made. What I've done so far is I have put some 20 gauge wire. I really do need to get a different camera, but a 20 gauge wire inside of a piece of straw, and in each end I put hot glue inside so it would keep it, you know, from rattling around. And so now what I did a minute ago was to cover one with fabric, and now I'm covering one with paper, and we're just going to be making beads today. I am really kind of into making beads anyway. I don't do it all the time because it's one of those things that you can do a whole bunch at a time and you don't have to do it again for a while. So yeah, I do tend to make beads. I've made them out of paper, out of clay, out of thread. I made some thread beads this morning. These were fun. So if you have like any extra thread, I wanted to, the reason why I did it was because I wanted to remove thread from these wooden spools, because I wanted to use these for you know, short versions of this scrappy snippet. And so if you are interested in that and you're part of my Patreon, the replay is up in the Patreon feed for anybody on a paid tier. So but you know, they're really easy, you know. So anyway, and there's videos all over the place for those. All right, so that's what I'm doing. But right now, so a couple different ways you could do this is you can cover it with fabric, you can cover it with paint. This is nail polish, or you can cover it with paper to cover up whatever the straw looks like. You can do it with plastic, or you know, or these are paper straws. These ones, like I mentioned before, I probably got at Dollar Tree, you know, for like $1/4 a pack, like after Christmas or something like that. So if you are like me and you like to go to Dollar Tree or any of those craft sales after Christmas, and you just grab stuff and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but I'll think of something. Here I am, probably 3 or 4 years later, figuring out what to use these straws for. So yeah, that's only a partial joke. So anyway, that's where we're at. Amy, you said I'm watching it because someone I know who is from my hometown is on the show. Okay, who's that? Is it the latest season of Traders or what? Okay, so I think what I want to do here is maybe take a gold. No, that's not a good one. Okay, I'm gonna find a good gold pen. These ones aren't that good. Gold or silver would be fine, or even just a color. But I really kind of have a vision in my brain. Okay, I'll just use this gold. Lizette, okay. New season, okay. Maybe I'll have to check it out. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull you guys closer. And I'm just going to make a little dot pattern on it. This is probably one of my more favorite things to do when I'm drawing, is to do like, you know, like little dots in patterns. Hang on. And so I'm just going to make like a polka dot pattern. So why didn't I just use the polka dots, right? But it's fine. I actually find this really centering, you know, to draw on my projects. And anyone new that is here and does not know me, my name's Kristi. I'm with Junk Journal Boss, and this is a family-owned, family-run business that I partner with Ezra, who is in the chat, and yeah, we're just doing the stuff that we love, and you know, try to make a living with it. And we thank you that you're here. All right, so there's my that little thing that I did. And so now what we can do is look at some of the beads and things. I'll go ahead and build this one right now just for fun, because I haven't done a gold one yet, so. I don't have a whole lot of gold spacers and stuff, so I'll probably just use, this one looks like it has like amber or gold in it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's see if I can find another. Yeah, maybe this one would be okay. All right. Okay, so those are going to probably fall off, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and then just go ahead and build on this side. These are spacers, and I forget what the proper name is for them, but they work well with beads. They'll work just fine because they actually are concave there, and so the end of a bead, or the bead, will fit like right into it. And so If I want, I can just keep on with these if I have enough of them. These actually are not all amber. They're like amber, white. I think they might be multicolored. So I am going to go ahead and just do some light colors here. I've got a light pink and then a light blue. And this, I hope I have enough for the other side though. I want to make sure that I don't use everything and then not have enough. That one's all white. That one will probably work. So, let's see. Maybe not that one. So let's go ahead and do one of these. And it's just kind of going to look, well, I don't really like that. But anyways, what you want to do is just try different things to see what you like. I'm largely going to do this, you know, gold and pastels, just simply because that's kind of what you can't really tell, but the paper is pastel. And then the, you know, all the spacers and stuff like that are gold. But you know what looks neat though, that I noticed that makes it look like if you want to do a boho bead, I kind of think that mixing the two, well, any of the colors of the metals, you know, works. So I could do that. Let me see if I can find a silver though. Yeah, so it kind of looks a little, I never used to mix metals and I still have a hard time doing it, but I actually think it looks really cool. So I'm going to go against my my judgment that always wants me to do the same things over and over, and just use different colored metals. So this one, I don't know, it looks so plain, right? I think it looks really plain. I think I need something sparkly in there. How about we go like this? Still not sparkly enough in my opinion. I think we're going to need this. So just play around with the beads, you know, and figure out what you like. Maybe that's just too much a likeness right there. You know, and just decide, you know, how you want it to look. And I don't know if there's necessarily a formula. Probably for professional people, there's probably some sort of formula to this. But for me, I feel like, you know, a bohemian style bead is, or, you know, bead, almost wanted to call it like a bead run, but you know what I mean, would be pretty eclectic. So anyways, I think that looks pretty good for now. So what I'm going to do here is just grab a crimp, what is this? What are these called? Well, this is crimping pliers, so crimp beads. I used to know this stuff a little bit better before because I was doing a lot of beading, but I haven't been lately. I've picked it up, and so if you guys ever, goodness, if you ever want to know what things are called, please don't rely on me, but make sure to ask. And I mean, don't just assume because I'm calling it one thing, that's what it is. Ask, because I'll make sure I know what it is before I tell you for sure. If you ask me, but sometimes I'm on the fly and I can't think of words, and so I don't want to be confusing to y'all. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just make I am going to go ahead and make a loop. And, oh, okay. Let's put that there. Oh, well, that's never going to move, right? Because it's all glued in. So, where's that circle one? Once you learn how to do a few things with the jewelry stuff, like I'm trying to say, once you learn how to handle like all of these, like do a little bit of beading or whatever, you will not have trouble. But at first you do have trouble with it, and it is kind of awkward to figure out what to do. And so you're seeing me relearning right now, which is fine. It's not a big deal. You know, we're not making professional jewelry. We're just making a loop here. And it can be somewhat awkward to do. And all of there's so many different types of crafts that can go hand in hand with junk journaling. This is just so short, I think, is what's going on. It's just really short. Okay. We are going to just let this be kind of a bigger loop. It doesn't matter that much, just so long as it closes. And so basically that's really all we're looking for. If you're interested in making jewelry, please know that I am not going to be showing you the way to professionally make jewelry. I'm just showing you how to use this in junk journaling. Okay, so that's fine. That looks really cool. I like it. And we're going to go ahead and do the other side the same way. So gold and then a pinkish white. I got glue all over my hands. Pinkish white, and then a metal ball. Spacer, and then a small, can't remember really what these ones are called. All of the beads have like different names, but anyway, this little diamond shaped one. Anybody could jump in and correct me if you want to, if you know. Let's see, and now I want a little spaceship. I do like the copper ones better, but I'm not seeing one and I'm not worrying about it. And then I want a little itty bitty bead here. And then I'm going to go ahead and put one of the crimping beads on. And what these are, I didn't explain this before, but what these are for is to hold the beads on to the wire. But I find that sometimes, you know, using this crimping tool, I mean, and it really is the only way I think to put them on that I know of anyway. But they don't always hold everything nice and tight. You kind of have to smash it quite a bit. I'm sure that's not a professional term. But at any rate, it shows me where the end is at, and I can go ahead and do my loop. And let's see. With a longer length, it's coming out better, you know. And so let me straighten it out just a little bit. Cut this off. See if I can tighten this guy up a little bit more. Yeah, that was helpful. Okay. Not good loops, but they'll work. So yeah. But anyways, they look really cool though, even if they're not like the standard jewelry loops. I like the whole, you know, spiral look. That's pretty good for me. So the next thing I want to do with this though is something different. And I want to go a little bit further and get some of, I want to try on a couple different ones of these. So I can use thick or thin. This one here I used like a thicker, like the 20 gauge that I was using before. This time I think I'm going to try this 28 gauge and just see how it turns out. I'm just going to stick that in there like that, and I'm going to take this all around. Uh-oh. Hang on. So this is kind of like, it's almost like thread. Like it's easily knotted. These ones that are over like 20, 22-ish gauge. I might be getting to the place where it's not knotted so much. I don't usually use this gauge because it's so thin. It's not great for stringing beads, the kind I do anyways. I'm sure that there are some ways to use that, but it seems like it's going to be really kind of cool to use to wrap the beads. So that's what I'm going to do. Ooh, I'm really digging how this is coming out. Okay. This is pretty cool. For now, I'm just gonna leave it like that because I don't really know what I'm going to use this for just yet. So I'm going to leave this extra on. But what do you guys think? It's pretty cool, huh? Super easy. A really great use of your thinner wire. And I like it a lot, you know. Looks good with the dots that I made, the polka dots. Okay, so that's another one. Here, let me zoom out a little more. Okay. And now let's work on okay, I'm going to put this so this is one I was working on, and I wrapped it with, you know, just denim. I'll show you how to do that. So I do a lot of stuff with fabric, just in case you guys don't know. Most of you guys probably do, or some of you guys. I have been having to empty out my mom and dad's house, so I get access to a lot of like her old clothes and stuff like that. And what I've been doing, just for, I don't know, it's just, I guess it's just personal satisfaction, you know. Sometimes I will, if it's a good fabric, I'll rip it up and use it. So I have like this whole bucket of like scrap fabrics that I made into bows and stuff for from my mom's clothes and everything. And so don't worry, my mother had so many clothes, so you know, we ended up giving away a whole bunch, like so many clothes to college students and to the local thrift store, and I ended up keeping a lot of them too, like clothes and scarves and things that I thought would be really cool to use in junk journaling. Plus, whenever I'm doing this, you know, I get to think of my mom while I'm doing it, and I like that. So you know, I'm always pulling out these scraps here that I'm going to be using. I tend to like to use scraps that have raw edge on it. I think this one will look really cool. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. I think I needed a deeper cut than that, I thought. What I'm trying to achieve here is, if I wrap this around, I want it to meet over here on this side, so we're not seeing any of the red and white. And I think I've got it now, so just need to put some glue down. while I'm letting that dry, just in case you're wondering, I'll show you how I like to use these. These ones are long ones, but I also make long short ones, you know, like miniature ones to put on the edge or the end of my, or the spine of my tiny junk journals to hold in signatures. And this is going to be a removable one, which is kind of cool. And so I really think that, you know, these, without these, the spine is pretty plain, and this is a real quick way, you know, to add some, like, you know, a sort of an ornate look to a tiny journal, or any kind of journal, really. So there's that one. Here's this one where all I did was just put a few beads, you know, on some elastic thread. And how did I do this? So I think I want to do these again, you know, these tiny journals. I think these would be really cute to do because I really enjoy them, you know. For this right here, this thread, I could add, you could add beads here. If you made small versions of these, you can add them here. I would not use straws in that case though. But anyway, these are all just really cute. And this one looks like it could use something on the end here. Maybe not denim, but at any rate, you can use them on small and large projects. I've used them in tassels for other journals. I have used them on pages and stuff like that. So anywhere that you can use like a really cool bead, you know, you can use them there. I think also these would be kind of cool for if you made them strong enough and well enough, they'd be cool for like keychains and things like that. But I mean, long strands of beads like this are going to be good for lots of different things. So if you also do other crafts, you know, make a bunch and you can use them in other crafts. But for junk journal, these are actually really cool. You know, they're very they really spruce it up, is, let me just, you know, is what I'm really meaning. So let's see. Let me actually show you, because I've kind of done those, and if you guys want me to, I can go back to these long beads, but I kind of wanted to show you something else really quick. So I was like kind of looking at beads pretty furiously this morning, looking for cool stuff to do. And I had watched a video before about making beads out of thread, like just regular old leftover thread. And honestly, they're really fun, you know, and they're easy to they are easy to shape, and they don't really take anything but white glue, a paintbrush, and thread. So I'll show you how to actually do that right now. And I'm just going over them real fast right now. I'm probably going to do some some mega makes with a little bit more explanation. But other than that, yeah. So let me grab thread. So like I mentioned before, I was trying to get rid of some of the thread that was on these spools, because I wanted to use these spools for something. This is like super old. Does anybody remember when thread for 325 yards was 35 cents? Does anybody remember that at all? I'm having a lot of trouble with focus right now, and I'm not really sure why that's happening. Probably because it's not super light right here. We're in the fall season, folks, so that happens. All right, so I'm going to just use this glue, and this is just regular. Matter of fact, I think this is PVC glue watered down, and I think that would probably work pretty good. Maybe a little bit better than what I was doing before, but we'll see. We'll try it. So the first thing you want to do is add some to where you are going to start. Come on now. Maybe that wasn't open all the way. All right, there we go. And so what I'm going to do here is start holding that with my thumb. The glue kind of got all over the place, but that's okay. I'll show you how to fix that. And so I'm just going to kind of wind it around to cover the glue really quick. Not being super careful just yet. I want to get glue all over everything, and then I'm going to push it in like this to kind of get it to really stick together and be kind of in the same clump. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and just start. I'm going to add glue to my finger. And then I'm just going to start guiding the thread where I want it. At first, we're going to have kind of a wider bunch of thread, but as it gets more and more thread, you're going to be lessening that width. Okay, so basically what's happening right now, I don't know if you can even see this. I need you to see this. Okay. Gosh. Okay. Try to stay at the same place. So it's going up like from side to side. Let me just say that. So I'm at the top here, and now let me add a little bit more glue to my finger. All right, and now I'm going down toward the bottom down here. And I'm just going to continue that until I have it the shape that I want it to be. And it's fine if there's glue all over it. It's going to dry, and it'll dry clear. The problem with having like the really thick glue, which is why I think that using the watered down one is going to work out a little better. is that it flakes a lot. You can tell just by, you know, when you get glue on your fingers and stuff, you can tell that it is probably going to flake a lot if it's a clumpier glue. Although the ones I made this morning with the clumpier glue actually don't look bad at all. So it probably will work both ways. I just found that I was peeling a whole lot of glue off of my fingers. Earlier today, and it looks like it's going to be less so this time. I'm tired today, guys. I think the change of the seasons, you know, takes a little out of me. Okay, so we're almost down to the end. I think I've used all of that thread. So now I just want to go ahead and just push all of the threads because it can get a little bit messy. I've done it a few times and so it's not so bad, but at first, when I first did it, it kind of was. So next we can remove it. This is quite a bit up on the, there we go. Oh, okay. So having it a little bit lower down here is probably a better idea, which I hadn't thought of. I was doing it that way before, but don't worry, just if it does this, it's fine just to cut it and then just use another kind of glue to sort of smooth everything down. And yeah, you know what? It is quite possible that the watered down glue isn't going to be a good choice. I'm seeing that now. What a bummer, because I really thought that was going to work out. Oh well. These ones, I think I can probably salvage that still, but these ones were the ones that I made with just, you know, the regular strength glue or the regular thickness. And so to do that, well, at least we've tried both and you can see both. And by we, I mean me. Because I'm always trying stuff, trying to see what's going to work and what isn't going to work. So another option for bead making is paper. And so one way to do paper beads is to take a piece, and you could do them straight or you could do them you know, wide, and well, let me just show you. You can do them like this. You can do them like this. You can get all kinds of different shapes by using paper like that, or these little skinny ones or small ones, these flat ones. This one's made out of fabric. So there's lots of different ways to do these. So I'll show you how to mark the pages or the paper and cut it. And so if I'm going too fast, or if you guys need me to do, to redo a type of bead, just let me know and I will. Okay. So when you're going to make paper beads, you want triangular, unless you're making straight beads. If you want round, you're going to make triangular pieces. Now these ones here are actually pretty short, so they're not going to be really super round beads, but the longer you have your paper, you know, the more round or the more shaped they'll be. But this is just a quick demo of this, and I want to use the one that is actually a triangle shape. And I want to use this time. So I like to usually use a quilling tool for that. I don't see it here. Oh, here it is. I like to use a quilling tool like this, and the reason why I like to use that is because it has this groove and it's pretty tall, and the paper fits right into it. You know, you can just slide it right in and it will hold the paper as I twist, right? But most people don't have it, and these are kind of expensive. They're like 13 bucks or whatever. So if you don't want to do that, you're not really sure if you like to make beads or whatever, you could just do it with like a skewer, like this one. It's just a bamboo skewer, and a little bit of glue. You also can use just regular glue. I use the Barely Art, but it doesn't really make a difference, honestly. And so every couple turns, you want to add a little more glue, not a lot, and just try to keep it centered, because this is, you know, you want this to end up in the center, right? And so you just kind of want to guide it along. And at the end, what I like to do, especially if it's super thin at the end right here like this, is I like to add a little more glue there and just sort of coat it with the glue. So that way, I don't think I've ever had so much trouble with focus. Anyways, so that way it ends up gluing all the way down, and then here's your bead. So what you might find is that right here there's going to be like kind of a drop off from this outside piece to the next layer, and so I just kind of like to even that a little bit on both sides. Okay, and so got that little bead there, And so you can do whatever you want with it. You can paint this. You can, you know, draw on it like I did before. You can leave it this color. You can cover it with like a thick gloss to make it really shiny. You can dip the edges in gold paint or silver, whatever it is that you're going to use it for. A couple that I've done, I have actually put in here on the ends, you could see eyelets. This bead wasn't thick enough really for the eyelets, but it's a way to seal the ends so they don't look, you know, like they are, you know, just kind of raw here. It just depends on what you're going for. The eyelets would probably look really good in a bead like that. So let me see if they'll fit. If they will, we'll go ahead and put them in. Yeah. So, so I'll make this one like a Halloween bead. I feel like this is going to be a cool bead. So I'm just going to add that there and a little bit of glue kind of on the inside and just pop this in. And so what that's going to do is it's going to make it look more finished, you know. And I'll do that on both ends. Okay. And just let that dry. So that's pretty cool. And so if you want to, you know, fix the ends like that, you can. I've made a lot of paper beads. Some of them are really cool looking. Some of them are just ugly, you know, but I've made a lot of them. So this is what I mean about dipping the edges in gold paint. So it kind of simulates the this idea, but it's just paint and you're just dipping it in one side and then the other. So that's pretty cool and easy to do. A lot of these that I made are just, they're just like magazine paper. I believe that this one came from like a Ulta magazine. You know, they have a lot of pink. These are my Ulta ones. These ones were from a calendar. These ones were just from some scrapbook paper. I think this was from a calendar. These ones were from Christmas wrap. Oops, let me let you see that a little better. From Christmas wrap. And this was from like a book jacket from like a wild animals book. And this was, let me just use this. This was scrapbook paper here, like Christmas, and I think in here there might have been one that was more wrapping paper, more Christmas, scrapbook paper. I mean, you can really just use anything that you think looks cool. So, anyways, that's that. You can use, like I said, you can use fabric for that. And I'll show you how to use this thing, because this thing is actually really cool, and I've used this so much. It's a really decent investment for if you're going to be making beads. Where did my papers just go though? Oh, here they are. Okay, so I'll show you some of the other shapes that these can come out also. And I used to think that anything that came out less than like what a regular bead would look like is imperfect, but it really just depends on what you want it for, you know, or what you're using it with. Is it going to be like a spacer bead? Or is it going to be like a main bead? It just depends on what you're looking for. This one would probably be, since it's going to be flat on this side and tapered on this side, it'd probably be good for a bead that goes alongside. A main bead. So, and you know, it really depends on if you like that look or not, but it can be that kind of a bead. And so, for instance, I have these that are sort of shaped like trees. And so if you were going to, you know, use a bead maybe like this, you know, and you like this look, I don't, but I mean, that's what I mean, is that you could use these as side pieces to showcase, you know, a bead. You could do that with smaller beads, like these straight ones. And don't mind this. These clay beads, I made them like a million years ago with some really, just from some clay scraps. So the color's kind of weird and not very pretty. But at any rate, just showing you the shapes of the beads that you could be using with beads like that. So don't discount them if they don't come out exactly the same shape or exactly the shape you want, because you can always use them somewhere else, you know. And so a lot of the beads that I have made in the past, I thought were all just kind of a wash, but because I keep them, I often will come back to it like a couple years later and go, oh yeah, I could totally use this for that or whatever. And you know, so don't throw away any of what you make, especially if they're this small, because it's worth it just to kind of shelf them for a little while and then come back, you know. So this is by far my favorite way to make beads, but you know, like I said, I really like making them. It doesn't really matter what I'm doing. I like making them out of clay, out of paper, out of, oh, there was another one that I haven't tried before, which is making them out of wire, although I've made, you know, similar things for similar or for different reasons. And so you can make beads out of wire as well. And so I'll go ahead and do that really quick. And so I hope you guys are enjoying this, because I know I'm going over stuff like really fast. I wasn't really planning on doing beads today, but it's kind of one of those topics that I can just like talk on forever and ever, because I like to do it so much. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and use the 24 gauge and see what I come up with this. This one, because it's so thin like thread, I think it's going to be fine, but I am going to use the craft glue for this. And it may even be that a different kind of glue might be more in order for this, but I'm going to try this because I'd like to know if it works. And so basically I'm going to do the same thing that I was doing with the thread. I forgot this has like a kind of a knot in it, so I might have to pause for a second and figure out where my end is. I think I'm just going to cut this, see if I can find a different end. It's like there's no end. It's so weird. Whatever. This should give us enough. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just keep making the base with this piece that I had before. A little more glue. So now that I've got a pretty good base going, I'm going to go ahead and just try to create the shape I want, because the wire is such that, you know, it's a little bit less pliable than thread. You know, there's going to be some lumpy spots, and you know, by watching you can just work those out with your hands or whatever. Just know that it, you know, none of this has to be perfect. It just needs to be what you like. I have a bump there, unfortunately. Let's see if I can flatten it a little bit. You know, and if you don't have all of the, I'm kind of getting this idea right now, is that if you don't have all of the stuff like I do, you know, like all the spacers and all the different metal pieces and stuff, you could make your own, you know. This will be more like a bead, but you also could, you know, make like little spaceship shaped ones, like the spacers I was using earlier. So what I'm doing right now is I want to create kind of a somewhat of a closure for this, because with the thread it's a lot easier because it's all going to glue together nicely, but with this wire it's a little bit different. So we're going to see how this can turn out. Sort of want to put this on the inside so that it doesn't show on the outside. Where is that other one? Okay, I'm gonna try this. So yeah, there we go. So that's cute, right? I like that. So let's go ahead and see what we can do with some of these beads. I think I probably want to make a second one like that, because I think that looks really pretty cool next to this. Okay, let me make another. A little bit different. That's okay. I'm looking for the color. And then if I want to use let's see what that looks like. It looks as though I lost my other one trying to get this loop done. I will find it later. I'm going to go ahead and just keep on working. Oh, yeah. My goodness. Oh, guess I got one. All right. Okay, so there is my last one. Here's some of the others that I have made. And so I hope this has been an interesting time for you guys. And just a quick one more shout out for my dragonflies. Thanks everybody for being here. I really appreciate that you come and hang out with me. If you want to catch me again, I will be here on Friday from 5 to 7 Pacific. And I know I didn't show up last time. I wasn't feeling well, but I should be back with some kind of a project. I'm sure it's going to be, you know, an autumn themed page spread for you guys. And then let's see, if you want to connect with us, you can follow our Facebook page, subscribe to this channel, and turn notifications to all. You can see us on Etsy, favorite our shop and the items that you like. That really helps us out. And also, oh yeah, and we are Junk Journal Boss everywhere, so you should be able to find us wherever you are. So anyways, thanks a lot for your support. Bye.